yourself, you have traveled internationally in different countries for seva, even for art of living projects. And I'm sure when a teacher is traveling to a different country, from my own experience or experience of all a teacher is, there are so many miracles. You feel like things are happening for you. You feel Gurudev's presence. So I think you travel to Zimbabwe, you travel to Botswana, and even other countries. How was your experience traveling as a teacher?
When you're traveling, that is when Guru is actually walking right next to you. Being at home is one thing, being in ashram is another thing. But when you're traveling, Guruji is actually right next to you every step of the way. Like, for example, in Zimbabwe, I was staying at a devotee's home, and this is again another Blue Star story, right? At night, I couldn't sleep. I was very restless, but eventually I fell off to sleep. And then, now these people, I must tell you, 2 teachers went previously and they stayed in this house. So when they came back to South Africa, they said to me, and it was my turn to go, they said to me, they've got beautiful avos in the gardens. You're just going to love it and all that, avocado pears, right? So now it comes to nighttime. I go to sleep, and I was awakened from my sleep, and I sat up in my bed, and there was something coming out of the ground, and I didn't know what it was, but I sat up, and as I sat, there was this scene playing out in front of me. It was a woman, and she was, till today, I can still see a yellowish white skin color. She was standing there, and there was a man, and he shot her. And then the next moment, it's like my bed started shaking, and there was something happening on the ground. I was so scared. I jumped up, I switched on the light, and I just started chanting all the way until it became light. And in the morning, I told the lady of the house, who's a devotee, I said, this is what happened last night. Somebody from the ground, they shook my bed and whatever. And she then, I realized that I was shocking her. So I stopped. I said, no, it's okay. There's nothing. Then, of course, she didn't stop. She went to the gardener and asked the gardener what happened in his house before. He says, if you want to know, now these are the indigenous people. You have to go down to the village and ask for this person, and this person knows exactly what happened here. So she comes back and she said to me, you know what? This was a graveyard, and somebody shot their wife here. So that was my first experience when I went to Zimbabwe. And of course, I had to sleep in the same room. I wasn't scared anymore. I wasn't scared of what was going to happen. I'm not scared of those things when it happens. It's just that I don't know why it happens, but this is what happened. And then, of course, when I went into the garden, I wouldn't eat the avos because I knew this was a graveyard and that. And then when I traveled through to Botswana, they had a drought for 8 months. And so when I got there, they were using sewage water for the washing. And I said to myself, oh, Guruji, my white clothes and the sewage water. So the community said to me, we've had no water, and they have these tanks coming to deliver water. So anyway, before the course started, we had a satsang, and I said, let's take a sankalpa for rain. So we took a sankalpa for rain. So then on a Saturday of the course, before we stopped for the nature walk, again, I said to them, after meditation, let's just take a sankalpa for rain. And we broke for the nature walk. So we came back 7 o'clock for the satsang. And these were mostly indigenous people doing the course in Botswana. So now as satsang starts, it's going fine. The thunder started. And then next moment, I just felt this presence. I said to the person who was facilitating with me, he's here. And then I just went to sit down, because I know when Guruji comes into a course, whenever I have a course, Guruji comes to the course. And I know when he comes, because my whole body goes into some kind of spasm, and I just have to sit down. And then she took a photo. At that time, she took a photo, and then she comes back. Then after that, she comes back to me and she says, "See ya." And I just saw Guruji in the photo. And then the lights went off. We couldn't continue with the video anymore. And I just told Guru Grace stories. But the locals by this time, they were singing hymns and they were crying, and because you could just feel that presence of Guruji there. And we were trapped in this hut till after 12 o'clock. We had no option but to go to our rooms and get soaking wet. And
When you say that there was Gurudev in photo, it's like an image of Gurudev, or like a subtle presence, aura? How was it?
No, it was he's I've actually got it on photo, It's not his aura. Okay, I'll give it to you now. Not his aura, his whole body was there in the photo.
And Gurudev was not actually there in the satsang.
He wasn't there. He was in Canada. This is it.
This is from Botswana, and he was not there. That's what. Okay.
He was in Canada. This was appearance in satsang.
But people were able to see him, or it only you could experience and it came in the photo? People were not able to see him.
They experienced it. Only I could see it. And then, of course, the photo.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah. Then what happened?
I didn't take this photo. It was my facilitator. But I knew Guruji was there. And when I went to sit down, I told her, just take a photo, because I could see him. No one else could see him, but they could feel him.
Wow.
Yeah. So then that is during my travels, and then of course when we were staying in South Africa, so I also had a center in my house, and I was doing like also a lot of seva with the youth. What I did is I had this yoga range of clothing, and we would have a fashion show, and I would train the youth, actually from grandmothers to babies, deportment and how to model. And we would have a health and happiness fair, and then of course the yoga fashion show would be the highlight of the fair. So what happened is one night, as we settled down to bed, we were both sleeping, Shirish and I, and we were just awakened. The light goes on, and I wake up first, and just like 30 seconds after that, Shirish also wakes up, and we wake up to 4 men standing there with guns in our bedroom. And this was, I will not go through the details, but of course, I was hurt, and they tied us up, and they decided, they were talking amongst themselves how they're going to kill us. And our mouths were gagged, we were tied by our feet, and our hands were tied behind our backs. We were laying on the bed. We couldn't speak, but at that moment, they left one of the guys. They took everything, of course, and they left one of the guys to finish us off. Yeah. And then both Shrish and I, without talking, we looked at each other, and we both did the death meditation at that point, because I could hear the guy pulling the trigger back, and I knew it was going to be any time now. At that point, a lot of things happened in between, but the alarm, the others went like downstairs and took more things, and they found the car, they came back up, and then asking us for the code and pressing the gun to my head for the code, then go to Shrish's side and press the gun against his head. And we didn't know what happened, right? So as they went, there was a time when they took me downstairs to another room. I really don't know what happened there. Up till today, I don't know what happened there. But when the psychologist tried to take me through that end, it was just a huge angel with Guruji's face cowering me, and I don't have no memory of what happened downstairs until they brought me back up again. At that point, when they were trying to pull the trigger, because you could hear it going back, the alarm goes off and the guy runs out. I sort of, how this happened, I don't know, but I sort of got off, wiggled myself loose from Shrish, but my legs still being tied. I hopped to the door, trying to lock the door, the bedroom door, but the key was in the outside of the door. With my hands fastened, I took the key out of the door and I put it in the inside of the door and I locked it. Then I hopped to the bathroom, and on the desk was scissors, and I managed to hand it to Shrish. By then he had hopped to the bathroom, and I cut him loose. It's not possible for this scissors to build his ties there. So anyway, I landed up in hospital. To cut a long story short, I was hurt, and I ended up in hospital. The doctors then gave up. They said, I will never be cognate again. And Shrish was there. I remember it was Mother's Day, and he was trying to break the news to the kids that I will never be the same again. Guruji phoned, and he says, bring Ruweida to the ashram now. And so Shrish then make arrangements, and we leave for the ashram the next day. They basically had to drug me to take me through customs, because if you're sick like that, you cannot get on a plane. So we get to the ashram, and we slept for 3 days, both Shrish and I. Guruji then takes over my medical side. He supervised it. I got very ill. I was so ill by now. I couldn't even eat or anything. So he used to send me to the hospital, a medical hospital, to the doctors for diagnosis, the allopathy doctors, and they used to give Ayurveda treatment. But it was just getting worse and worse and worse until my whole body turned, it was red-blue, like septicemia, I was in excruciating pain. I couldn't walk by this time. I couldn't eat, nothing. Even if I drink water, it comes out. And it was this one night, it was storming in ashram. I was lying on the bed, and Shrish was also lying down because he was experiencing chest pains. And we had no airtime on our phone. And we couldn't phone out. So I'm bedridden, I can't walk, but the pain was so excruciating. I got up and I walked. I paced up and down, and I said to Shrish, please end my life. I cannot take this anymore. And he just ignored me. And I went to lie down. I felt myself sinking and sinking and sinking until I was on this boat on a river. It's a rowing boat on the gloomy river. And somebody was rowing me in this boat. And I saw a bank. And then there's a river bank. And as we got close to the bank, all my family members that had passed on, including my father, was standing there. And for some reason, the boat turned around and rowed back, and I found myself on the bed again. Now, at this point in time, I heard the phone ringing. It was Pitaji that phoned. No, it was Mayank that phoned. And he says, Pitaji wants to know how's Ruweida. Now, Pitaji didn't even know that we were there. I mean, because like, Pitaji, you see him now and again in Ashram, and he didn't even know us, by name or anything like that. We will just like do, greet him from a distance and put our hands together and greet him. And he wanted to know how's Ruweida. And Shirish says, Mayank, she's very bad. I don't know what to do. And Mayank says, Pitaji says, get Ruweida ready. He's sending a car for her. And, it was raining. Even when the rain touched my skin, it was burning. It's like, when acid touch, it was like that, touches your skin, it was burning. That's how bad. I couldn't wear, I just had these huge kurtas over me. I couldn't wear anything underneath because my body was like so raw. So from that moment, Pitaji started administering treatment to me. So every day I had to go down to treatment with Pitaji, and every day I had to sit in the oven with I call him Narayana Swamiji, that says Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. He was also staying where Guruji lived. At that point in time, Guruji then moved me into where Guruji stays. So I was staying next to Swami Narayana. And Pitaji saw to me every day. During that time when I was so sick, you know what Pitaji would feed me? He would give me a grilled toast and cheese with tomato sauce. And it was like, I mean, I couldn't eat. And here I get this. It was like heaven. It was like, and yet I would keep that down. And then I just realized there's something bigger going on here. But I've never seen a greater devotee than Pitaji to Guruji, because everything he would give me, he will take it to Guruji's photo and then he'll feed me. Even the medication he give it to me. And he came up with a medical program that I had to have massages from 5:45 in the morning till 12 o'clock midday. And what was so amazing, the whole Art of Living family rallied around us. They even moved Dr. Siksha Thakur to stay with me, and Varun that used to come and massage my horrible feet every single day. I mean, the seva that Varun administered was amazing. And so this carried on for months and months and months. And then the one day, Guruji was traveling, and he was going to be the compassionate, I'm thinking now about the compassionate Guru. He was going to be in transit in Delhi. And suddenly we heard, oh, Guruji's arriving at 2 in the morning. And then that was nobody was expecting him to come. And then, of course, I stayed up because I wanted to have my glimpse of my Guru. And so then when he came, I stood far away and I watched as Guru got out of the car. But somehow he noticed me. And then he said, he sent somebody to call me. And you know, at that point in time, I had no hair. It was bunches because everything fell out, and I was like red blue. My face was blue and whatever. And Guruji says to me, you know, I came especially to see you. I was going to be in transit in Delhi, but I asked him to get me a flight to come here and to see you. And the next morning, then he left back to go to Germany. And I thought, wow, look at this, you know, what a compassionate Guru we have. I mean, he's got the whole world to see to, but yet he thinks of coming to see how his patient is. Anyway, so this continued and the medication continued. I was starting to get better. As I was starting to get better, there was this huge, dark, brown, almost black dots forming on my forehead. And everybody was asking me, why did you tattoo a chandlo on your forehead? And I said, I didn't tattoo it. It's not a tattoo, it's like that. And when I used to go for treatment to Pitaji, he used to always say, you have to cover that. He used to take kumkum and cover it. He says, you must cover that. And I didn't understand why, because, I mean, I'm not used to wearing a dot. So Pitaji would make a dot there. And then, of course, when I go again the next day, I forget to put the dot, so I go there. And the one day, he actually said, he chided me, and he said, sit down. You don't have a dot, sit down. And there was somebody there. Maliga was there at the moment. And he called Maliga, and he says to Maliga, see what happened to her forehead. He says, this happens 1 in every so many million people. It's either if you have a peak experience like Guruji, or if you have a low experience like how you had, like a near-death experience, then this happens. It means that your third eye had opened, and I will teach you how to use that. You'll be able to see the future and help a lot of people, and I will show you how to do it. And of course, I got better, and Pitaji says, you come back Shivaratri, and then we will deal with that part of you. But of course, by the time I left, Pitaji took very ill, so I didn't see him. And of course, after Navaratri, I came home. And then we heard, we heard that Pitaji had passed on. So then Guruji had given me my next project. As I left the ashram, Guruji had given me my next project to coordinate WCF for Germany for Africa. So I was actually kept very busy because I had to go travel around Africa teaching people how to dance, because we didn't have a culture group to perform. So we created our own culture group to perform. And when we left the ashram, Pitaji actually told us that you go and live in Cape Town, where there's mountain and sea. Pitaji has never been to Cape Town. I mean, he doesn't know. And today, we're actually living in Cape Town. One side, if you look to the east, it's the sea. If you look to the west, it's the mountain. It's like, you know, this is so amazing. So now we come home, and we go and we do the WCF, and of course, with the song Waka Waka, got the whole stadium on their feet. Now, Guruji was even drumming, and he was like so happy, you know. And of course, then I also organized a WCF for Delhi. Now, when we were in Delhi, they had a lot of ambassadors, they invited ambassadors, and we had a dignitary, which was Ahmed Kathrada. He was in jail with Nelson Mandela, which Shrish was escorting, to his seat. And then, of course, Shrish was wearing a suit. Then there was empty seats behind of the ambassadors who didn't turn up, and this was right in the view of the camera. So sorry, this was in Germany. So somebody came to him and says, can you fill that seat, because it looks ugly in the camera, the ambassador didn't turn up, whatever. So Shrish says, okay, fine, yeah, I'll sit in a seat. And he said to himself, it feels nice to be an ambassador, sitting in the seat. So he filled the seat and he sat there throughout the whole time. Now, when we left Germany, we on our way from the airport. So you must know the ambassadors were sitting like behind Guruji, right? So now we land in South Africa, and coming from the airport, Shrish gets a phone call. And the phone call was, the president wants you to be an ambassador. This was like so amazing. And a couple of months after that, of course, Shrish asked Guruji whether he should accept it. And Guruji said yes. And a couple of months after that, we were flying to Kazakhstan to fill our first post as ambassador. And we then had Guruji coming to Kazakhstan. And when he came through, when we moved to Kazakhstan, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I'm so far, it's like Siberia. And when we arrived there, it was like minus 27. And I thought, man, what a place. How do I live here? And then one day I was sitting on the bed. This is in Kazakhstan. And I thought to myself, I'll never have Guruji in my house again. Look where I am in the world. Things have just changed. I'll never have Guruji in my house again. Do you know? 2 weeks later, we get a call. Guruji is coming to Kazakhstan. And oh my gosh, I was thinking, another aha moment for me. So when Guruji arrived, so we arranged, it was a very nice event, and there was about plus 40 ambassadors in the function, and Guruji attended a spiritual conference that was hosted by the government of Kazakhstan, and it was Mandela Week. And on the last day of the Mandela Week celebration, the culmination of the Africa Day function, we launched the Meditation for Africa, Global Meditation for Africa, which Guruji led. And today we have this I Meditate Africa that's really grown into leaps and bounds. And so when Guruji then arrives in Kazakhstan, he comes home. I opened the door, and you know what he said to me? He says, I only came because you called me. And I thought, oh my goodness. And Guruji was like just with us all the time, and we just went shopping and walking around, and he sent the other delegates to the conference, but he was just with us.